Hi, this is Michelle, and welcome back to Call Me Crazy. Today is Sunday, February 2nd, 2025, and this is a continuation of my mini series about the Matrix. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can go back and watch my video called I'm in the Matrix, but it's not what you think, part 1. This is going to be part 4, and what I'm going to talk about today is the public school system. And I am in the state of Florida, so I'm going to talk specifically about Florida and more specifically Palm Beach County. Now, your state may be different, so I'm just going to talk about specifically related to my experience with the state of Florida. So my daughter, she's done with high school now, so I just want to talk about some of the things that I learned along the way, having to get adjusted to a new school system and having to learn the ins and outs of it. And unfortunately, some of it I learned too late, and we paid a price for that, and I'll explain that as I go. So, when my daughter entered high school, um, she was having a bit of trouble with the school that she was going to, and I don't want to get into all the details of that, but there was that the school wasn't a good fit for her, and there were some things going on that were not good. So when fast forward to when she was in 11th grade, which is just a year before her last year of high school, we decided to look into moving her to a different school. Now, prior to this, me being new to the country and not really knowing really much about the school system, unfortunately, there was a lot of things I didn't look into, and that's really my fault because I really didn't think I had to be honest. I just kind of trusted the school system and that they would place her in the right classes and put her in the right programs to put her on a path to graduation. Now, little did I know at the time that even though that's true to a certain extent, you as the parent, you still have to dig a little deeper to find out, are they really putting her in the right classes? Are they really giving her the correct requirements in order for her to graduate? And I found out the hard way that you can't depend on the school. Even the counselors, the guidance counselors, whatever you want to call them, a lot of times they give you the wrong information. So I found this out the hard way. So fast forward, she's in 11th grade, and we kind of had a conversation, and we said, okay, we're going to look at moving you from this school and putting you into a different school. So what I started to do was I started to look into exactly where she stood at that time as far as on being on track to graduate from high school. Like, what classes did she need, what she didn't need, which one she's completed already, what requirements does she still need in order to graduate, because she only had one more year of school. So I started kind of digging into her transcript and classes she had done. Up until this time, I had not done any of this. I really didn't think I had to be honest, but only because we were moving her to a different school, I started to kind of dig into it. And I looked at her transcript very closely. And, I realized at that point that she really only needed one class, literally one class, in order to fulfill all the graduation requirements for the state of Florida. And she still had one more year of school, so she was going into 12th grade. So my question was, how come the counselors in the school did not point this out to me? Because if she had just literally done one extra class at any point along the way, from, because high school in the US, I think, if I got this right, I think it's 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, or it might be 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm not sure, because there's a certain grade that's middle school and then it goes to high school. So I think it might be 10th, 11th, 12th grade. So at any point along there, if she had done one extra class, she could have graduated early, 1 year early. So I started kind of digging into this. And so let me go backwards a little bit before I get into that. I remember in the 11th grade, they were offering the SAT the SAT exam, which is the Scholastic Aptitude Test, which a lot of high schoolers take in their last 2 years of high school. I mean, we did this back when I was in high school, 40 years ago? I didn't even know this was something they still did, but apparently they do, because it's a lot of colleges and universities require the results from this exam as a part of their assessment as to whether they're going to accept you into that school. Now, my daughter and I had a conversation, and she said she really doesn't want to go to college, at least not now, or maybe later, but right now it's not in her plans, which is fine. So I said to her, well, if you don't want to take the SAT exam, then don't take it, because it's really only for people who want to go to college or want to go to university. You don't need it for high school. It's just something they offer you while you're in high school. So they had planned to take it on a particular day while she was in school. So I said to her, I said, well, go ask the counselor, the high school counselor, if it's mandatory that you take the SAT, because they were doing it on a day that she was supposed to be in school. So I said, in the meantime, while you do that, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to dig into it a little further to see if this is something that's mandatory, because they were telling all the students that it's mandatory that you come. So I said, go to the counselor, you personally one-on-one, and ask them if this is a mandatory requirement. So in the meantime, I'll do some digging. So she went to school the next day and she asked, and she said she was told by the counselor that yes, it is mandatory. You have to take the SAT exam or else you cannot graduate. So of course I did my own research, and that is categorically not true. You can take the SAT if you choose to, and if you take it while you're in high school, it's free. If you decide to take it at a later date after high school, you can do that, but it will cost you. You'll have to pay a fee. So I knew that. So she was told something that's categorically not true, because she did not take the SAT exam. Up to this day, she has not taken it, and she got her her high school diploma. So it's not mandatory, and it's not a graduation requirement. So they will try to intimidate you and say, yes, you have to take it, but you really don't have to. And I remember along the way in her high school journey and middle school journey, they would give them certain assessments at the end of the year, like these long tests that they have to do. And I would often tell her that, some of these things are not mandatory for you to graduate. So some of them are, but some are not. And, sometimes she would still decide to take it anyway. But I said, if you decide not to take it, I'm okay with that, because, it's really not something that you need to do. So when we were getting ready to transfer her to a different school, I started kind of really digging into the requirements for her to get a high school diploma. And like I said, you cannot listen to what the school tells you, because they will give you totally wrong information. So I went directly to the source, which is the Florida Department of Education. And the Florida Department of Education stipulates very clearly, it's extremely clear, step by step by step, everything that you need in the state of Florida to get a high school diploma, to be awarded a high school diploma. So I went on the site, and I pulled the actual document that shows you everything that's required to get a standard high school diploma, because you can get like an honors diploma, that's like a different level. But if you just want a standard high school diploma, it's extremely clear. You literally just read it step by step. It tells you everything that you need. So all you have to do is get the transcript from the high school and compare it to this, and make sure that everything that they require is on there. And I find a lot of things here are very complicated, but I found this very easy, believe it or not, because it is extremely clear. It's not confusing. It tells you exactly. So it's basically, you need a certain amount of credits, and broken down within those credits, you need certain classes, certain amount of credits in math, a certain amount of credits in science, a certain amount of credits in foreign language, etc. And I also found out that doing all this digging to get her transferred to another school, that there is a foreign language requirement to get the high school diploma, but she had far surpassed the requirement. I think the, I can't remember what it is now. I can't remember what it is right off the top of my head right now, but whatever the requirement was for foreign language, she had like tripled that requirement by the time I started digging into this. And I realized that she took all those classes, they were not necessary, because she actually took Spanish and she hated Spanish. So looking back on it, if I had been more on top of this, I could have avoided all of that and just take the one that's required and move on if you hate it that much. You know, I'm not one of those that's going to force you to take a class that you hate. I just wanted her to get through high school, and let's just do what's required and we move on. So, like I said, I started digging into this, and after reading all of these requirements and comparing it to her transcript, I realized that she only needed one more class to graduate from high school, and she was about to go into 12th grade, and that's like a whole year of classes that she was scheduled to do. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are we doing this? So I had to do some more digging, and I went to the school counselor, and of course I presented everything, and I said, well, you know, she only needs one more class. So what are our options? Because I don't think she should have to go through a whole year of high school. She literally only needs one class. So their response to me was that, well, we can't enroll her in the school and just take one class. Like we're not allowed to do that. She has to do a full course load if she wants to be enrolled in school. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, let's just do the one class and get out the way and you can graduate. No, that didn't work. Okay, so they said, if you want her to continue at this school, which we didn't want to anyway, but I was hoping we could do the one class. If you want her to continue at this school, unfortunately, we have to enroll her in a full course load, which is, I think it's either 4 or 5 classes per semester, like one from August to December, and then from January to like April or May. Each one of those semesters, she would have to do like 5 classes or something like that. So here we are, and like I said, some of it was my fault, because if I had really looked into all of this like a couple years before, she could have graduated a whole year early, because I would have known that, hey, you just need to do an extra class and you'll be done. So here we are, we're wanting to change schools. The existing school says you cannot, even though she only needs one class to graduate, we can't enroll her for just one class. We're not allowed to do that. So we started looking into her doing, it's an online platform called Florida Virtual, which is basically like, you know, during COVID, a lot of people were doing online classes. Apparently this school has been around way before COVID. I didn't even know. It's been in existence for a long time, where you do your schooling online, but it's still a part of the public school system, and you still get a diploma just as if you went to a physical brick and mortar school. So we started looking into this platform called Florida Virtual. So then Florida Virtual, as we're like looking into the application process, they said, hey, okay, she only needs one class to graduate, but in order for us to put our name on her diploma, she has to do a minimum of 6 classes. We can't give her a diploma with our name on it if she only does one class. So we're kind of in a quandary. The existing school will only take her if she does a full course load, even though she only needs one. The new school will take her, but they say, hey, if we're going to put our name on her diploma, she has to do a minimum of 6 classes with us, because we're not going to give her a high school diploma and she only did one class, which I kind of see their point in a way. But then her existing school won't take her and just do one class. So we're kind of in a quandary, like, do you want to stay with your existing school, or do you want to go to a new school, but you still got to do 6 classes? So she was pretty much done with her existing school. She was not interested anymore. And to be fair to her, there were a lot of issues there, which I don't want to get into, but there were tons and tons of issues. Oh, and then another thing, I found out that she was doing a math class at her existing school, and she was kind of struggling with it. And I found out that she really didn't have to do that class because she had already fulfilled her math requirements. She already fulfilled her foreign language requirements. She already fulfilled her science requirements. She had fulfilled every requirement. Basically, she just needed like a couple extra credits, which equal to one class. So I was kind of mad at myself. I kicked myself in the butt. I'm like, why didn't I look into this earlier? But I really didn't think I had to. But at this point, we were kind of stuck. So we're stuck with two bad choices. You either stay with your existing school where there's lots of problems, she didn't want to be there. And based on the things that were happening, I kind of don't blame her. Or you can do online school, but unfortunately you got to do 6 classes. Now the good thing is that if she went to the online school, she could literally pick any class that she wanted. It just had to be 6 classes. She could pick basket weaving, she could pick, music, she could pick whatever, just any fluff class if she wanted to. She just had to do 6 classes in order to get the diploma with their name on it. So we did decide to go that route, and her last year of high school, she did online classes. And she fulfilled the 6 classes. I helped her, and we went through the catalog of classes, and we just picked like the easiest thing that she could possibly do, because she only needed to do that one class. And so that's the route that we went, and she ended up getting a high school diploma from Florida Virtual, which is a part of the public school program in Florida. It is legit. I wasn't even sure at first, but it is legit. It is an actual accredited school within the Florida public school system. So she did complete her last year there, and now she's done. She's been done for like a year now, so it's all good. But because I did not look into these things early enough, I realized that we made a lot of mistakes, and we could have corrected them, and she could have actually graduated a whole year early if I had known. So we kind of got stuck in a pickle. So if you have kids that are in high school, because I think elementary school and middle school is not as important. But when they're getting to the point where they're in high school and they're moving towards graduation, you really got to look closely into the requirements, because the school is not going to guide them the right way, believe it or not. They may have good intentions. I'm not saying they have bad intentions, but they will give you the wrong information, and they will try to intimidate you and say certain things are required when they're really not. You gotta go to the source of your particular state or your particular county and find out what is required for them to graduate. You gotta educate yourself, and you gotta get the information, because when I went to the school with certain information, I said, hey, this is not a graduation requirement. You can't force her to do this. They did kind of back down because they realized that, I got the information from the source. So you really got to kind of, I'm not saying to be like mean or aggressive, but you have to stand up and tell them that they're really giving you the wrong information, because they will do that, and they hope that you won't verify it. Or maybe they think they're giving you the right information. I don't know. But I honestly think it's like an intimidation tactic. Oh no, you have to do this, when you really don't. So I'm just saying that if you have kids in high school, really you got to get involved, and you got to really look into their transcript and look at the classes that they're taking, and look at the trajectory. When they get to a certain grade, say like 9th, 10th grade, you really got to look at their transcript and figure out where they are and where they're going to be in 2 years, and figure out what classes they really need to take, because you could correct some mistakes before they happen, like what happened with me. So that's my video for today, and hopefully this can help somebody, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.